All right.
See us. Highland Park canceled on Spearman
They did?
because of COVID.
All right, Claudia, you want to start off with that?
Breaking news, yeah. Highland Park canceled on Spearman?
Yes.
Okay. So Highland Park has COVID.
Yes.
Okay.
So look, Spearman gets a.
All right. Hey, y'all, we're about
Losing one
25 out. So let's get ready. I'm going to tell Caitlin to start it. All right, Caitlin, we're about ready.
Okay.
I think Claudia's going to start it out.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know when I'm good to click live, and I'll let y'all know when we are starting.
Go for it.
We are live. Go ahead.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the breakdown where we break down everything you need to know about high school football across the Panhandle before we wrap it up on the wrap up on Friday nights at 11:05. I'm Claudia Faust, joined by Evan Abramson and Lance Launer. We have an exciting show ahead, but we also just got some breaking news, so we're going to start off with that. We just found out that Highland Park has canceled their game against Spearman due to COVID complications on their team. Lance, do you have any additional information, or is that kind of what we know right now?
That's pretty much what we know, Claudia. And Spearman, wow, you know, they were the ones who had it in the Canadian game that we were waiting for. So quite a year for the Spearman Lynx this year. And sure, Highland Park's doing everything they can. You know, it's just happening. And we feel sad for those guys that they can't go out and play on Friday night.
Well, it feels like by the time this season comes to an end, this is going to have happened to everyone. So it's not unusual. But let's get into two of last week's games that were both very exciting. The first one we'll start off with is the Odessa Permian at Tascosa game. You guys were both right about this one, choosing Tascosa to win. So Lance, you know, obviously they performed, the Rebels performed exactly how you expected them to. You want to start with what you remember about that game?
Well, I will say this, though. The first 14 points of the game were scored on pick sixes by Tascosa, so I was surprised that way, Claudia and Evan. Darius Sanders and Latravian Brown put him up early, 14-0, and then they were able to really sustain things, and then we had the Major Everhart return that kickoff 95 yards to open the second half. Now, Tascosa beating Permian wasn't a big surprise, but by 40-18, in my opinion, Evan and Claudia, was a lot more lopsided than I thought. So, hey, the Rebs look good. Really good.
Hey, you know, building off of that, Lance, I mean, look, there were kind of some doubts about Tascosa heading into this game. They had suffered that loss against Midland Lee. They got the win against Abilene. But all in all, the Tascosa Rebels looked like the complete package of that game. The defense was there. The offense was there. They got the running game up after a couple of drives, so they kind of struggled to get that fast start that they want. But after a little bit, they pulled it all together, and Tascosa looked like the team that everyone thinks they're going to be, that deep playoff team. And I think Ken Plunk has to be happy with the way the team played as a whole. Everything looked great from our end when we were both at that game, Lance.
Yeah, I agree with you. And real quick, they both played the triple option, which is kind of unusual in this era of the pass-happy offenses. So those defenses were used to each other, and I thought Tascosa performed well against a Permian defense that knew what was coming at them.
Well, guys, let's talk about what I think was an even more exciting game, the Battle of Bell Street last week. I mean, we were all kind of on pins and needles excited about the final minutes of that game, which obviously Amarillo won with a 42-yard field goal. So, Evan, why don't you start? What was exciting? I mean, everything was exciting about that game, but what did you find the most exciting about that game?
I mean, the most exciting thing for me was the fact that this game ended on a game-winning field goal, but more so than the fact that it ended on a game-winning field goal was how long of a field goal it was. I mean, a 42-yarder, I mean, forget about the fact that it was a 42-yarder. Most NFL kickers and college kickers that we've seen have trouble making that. So the fact that Amarillo has not one but two guys in that team that can make that kind of field goal, the fact that it could have gone for an extra 10 yards, as Coach Chad Dunham told me at the Battle of Bell Street volleyball match this past week, I mean, that's just amazing to me. And I thought the composure that Luke Laminack had going into that after being iced I mean, it's just unbelievable how that game ended and how great of a kick it was. So props to him doing what probably 95% of high school kickers can't do.
Oh wow, that's a bold statement. I like that a lot. Let me add this, Claudia and Evan. Hey, I'm with Evan. Luke was calm. You know, he was calmer than I. We had him on the wrap up afterward, and he was calmer than I was. I said, "You got ice?" He goes, "Yeah." You know, not a big deal. I kind of like that. So, yeah, shout out to Luke, and also he had an interception in that game as well. Let's praise him for that. But Emerald High obviously lost their second string quarterback Brock Wade in that game. So they had to be under duress that whole game offensively. Let's give Randall a shout out, man. I call him the Killer Bee and the Kid. Those linebackers for the Raiders are amazing to watch. You can't get them on the ground. They won't be blocked. So shout out to Branson Britton, Braden Beck, and the sophomore Mason Gilbert. Number 25, number 26, number 35 in your program. But Claudia, you nailed it. That was just an exciting game. Most of us kind of thought, let's be honest here, Randall wasn't going to be able to compete with Amarillo High. They proved everybody wrong. So I think both teams came out of that game with confidence.
Most definitely. And here's where I'm feeling not so confident. We're going to take our picks for who's going to win 4A Division I. And I was, texting Evan before this, and I was like, I don't know who to pick, truthfully. But I made my pick. So we're choosing between Canyon, Dumas, Pampa, and Hereford. And I'm just going to quick make my pick first before you guys steal it from me or think that I stole it from you. So I'm going with the Pampa Harvesters. I feel like they're a little underrated here, even though they're 7-0, but I wish we were having this conversation in another week or two after we could see Pampa and Canyon and just kind of these four teams take on each other, because they've kind of had the same schedule up to this point. But that's why I'm also choosing Pampa, because they've got that 7-0 record. They've got an additional game under their belt and all wins. So they look good to me. But Evan, who do you pick?
Oh, this is so tough. I mean, you look at these district standings that we're about to show you. I mean, you've got teams that are undefeated in this district. Dumas with that one loss. I mean, it's just so tough. And all respect to the Hereford Whitefaces, Hereford Whitefaces. That's a mistake on my end, putting the Hereford Harvesters. I'm having trouble speaking. But Hereford's a great team. They got a great coaching staff, but they are in one of the toughest districts in the entire Panhandle. And I gotta go. If I'm going to pick, Lance brought up a really great point to me before the show that you got to also take in mind defense. Canyon's defense has been light out, so I got to go Canyon as winning this district, but it's going to all come down to this big-time matchup that we're going to see between Canyon Dumas, Canyon Pampa, Pampa Dumas. All these matchups are going to be so great. They're going to be the most exciting games of the week, I guarantee you.
Yeah, wow, you guys have put me on the spot with that one, but just so you know, those four teams are 21-4 combined. And these are four teams that are already in the playoffs. So let's be honest here again, they really don't have to put it all in because they're already in the playoffs. So I respect these coaches and these players so much for the level of play they're putting on. There's no coasting going on. Great coaching district with Bryan at Canyon, Dunham at Dumas, Delosia at Hereford, Pointer at Pampa. What do you do? Claudia, I had Pointer on the sports drive this week, and I'm with you. I mean, that's a hard team to pick against with Landers at running back. But I've got to go with those purple people eaters. I keep calling them that. This is going to come down to who can play the best defense and keep points of the games. And I just think with Blake Wilhelm, Joe Shaw, Jet Meek, Rafe Butcher, you can go down the list of guys. Canyon's going to get it done on defense. And that's going to be my pick, the Canyon Eagles.
Hopefully I know this isn't a pick 'em, but maybe here's my opportunity to win something. We'll see. It'll just be between us, I guess.
I love it. I love it. They can score points like crazy. Pampa can.
That's for sure. All right. Well, let's move on to another question I've got for you guys. Is White Deer and Happy the 1A game of the season? Lance, what do you think?
Hey, it's a legit game. It's probably for the District 1A Division I championship. Both are 1-0 in district. And it was White Deer coming into the season that had all the love, all the publicity, but it's Happy who's really stepped it up a little more, and they've proven tough. And how Texas and Cowboy does it get when you have Stetson Jameson as your star running back? He's probably the best six-man back in our area, 1,200 yards rushing, 25 rushing TDs. I'm thinking Happy wins this, but I'm not going to call this the best game of all time this year, because What if Happy wins, and what if Valley beats Claude? Valley's undefeated, and Happy has to knock them off next week. Great game, but I don't know if it's the six-man game of the year.
Oof, you know, I love every point that Lance just brought up. To me, this is probably the biggest game of the year, and I'm not going to take anything away from that potential Valley game, but the fact that you just mentioned it, Lance, is that this is probably for the district title of this division. I mean, you got two teams with 5 wins on the season, two teams that desperately want this win and to avoid having that extra loss. It's going to come down to that tiebreaker, but it's two teams that have the ability to both run the ball stellar and also pass the ball like there's no tomorrow. So, you know, expect for this to be a huge game that two teams are going to go all out for.
All right, guys. Well, let's jump into some pick'ems. I'm kind of going to go out of order since we're talking about this game right now. First, White Deer at Happy. I'm going with the Happy Cowboys. And I guess we'll quick get your guys' take, but I think I know. Lance, why don't you start?
Well, I'm going to have to go Happy, too. You know, like I said, you got a guy named Stetson as your running back playing for the Cowboys at the Cowboy Corral. You can't pick against that, so I'm going Happy. They've been on a year-long roll, and I think it continues.
Hey, I'm going Happy too. They're ranked inside the top 10 for Texas, the entire state of Texas, for 1A teams. So I got to go the Happy Cowboys. They've just impressed me up the wazoo this year. Everything they're doing, they look so flawless. I mean, I just don't know how much better that this team can get. So I'm going Happy as well.
Claudia, I don't
All
know
right.
about up the wazoo, but they are impressive, okay?
Well, the next matchup I'm going to ask you guys about is Bushland at River Road. Last time I picked River Road, it really worked out for me. So I'm putting all my eggs in the River Road basket. Again, Brady Pointer, our producer's probably happy about that one. So Evan, are you planning on making our producer happy too?
Oh, you know, I don't know. This is such a hard game because you got two teams that really know what they're doing. River Road really utilizes that ground and pound, that QB option game, whereas Bushland has the ability to really just destroy teams with that air attack. I'm going to go with River Road. I think I'm going to make Brady Pointer happy. I think River Road has got the momentum on their side right now. They've been playing these top teams really close all season long, so I got to go River Road, to be honest.
Oh, man, I love me some Brady, Claudia and Evan, but, hey, get the Kleenex out, Brady. I'm going against your Wildcats. I'm going Bushland, but hey, a great 2-3A Division I game. Now River Road is coming off that loss. You know, that kind of surprised us that they got beat by Littlefield last week, 22-9. So I think they're going to be ticked off. It's going to be a tough matchup. But Bushland, man, they put it on Muleshoe, 63-0. Check out this guy, Cash Bradley. You have to have a name Cash if you're going to be able to do this. He was a one-man wrecking crew, 5 touchdowns. 4 catches for 79 yards, 40-yard rushing touchdown. Then he threw for a touchdown. And as if that wasn't enough, he returned an interception for a touchdown. Coleman Janelle's been on a roll. River Road's going to have to be concerned with his quarterback skills. Going to be a great game. But sorry, Brady, I'm going Bushland.
All right, and the last one I've got for you guys, Panhandle at WT Stinnett. I am choosing WT because Panhandle kind of suffered from that forfeit game last week, even though they won because of the forfeit. They were off last week, and I always feel like, you know, an unexpected turn of events like that can't really help. WT looks good to me. What do you think, Evan?
Oof, well, it's the battle of quarterbacks if there's ever been one right now. Avion Cruz for WT against West Jones. I mean, this is going to be such a great battle of quarterbacks. And at the end of the day, I got to think that Panhandle is going to be hungry for this win. So I'm going to go the Panhandle Panthers taking down West Texas. But I think this is going to be a high-scoring team. I'm going to call this one, and this will be a bold statement, at least 50 points for each team in this game.
Oh, wow. I like it. I like it a lot. You're right, Evan. I agree with you. Quarterback play is your thing. You've died and gotten to heaven with Jones and Cruz. So just pack lunch, dinner, and maybe even breakfast, because this one's going to last forever. Remember last year, West Texas put 800 yards and 80 points on the Panthers. I've got to go Panhandle in this one. I think it is going to be a shootout. And the winner of this has a really good chance of go ahead and using that momentum to win the district title, in my opinion. So look for a shootout. Panhandle loves them. West Texas loves them. Nothing wrong with them.
All right, Lance, it's time for your famous shout-outs. What you got for us?
Hey, yeah, I got a couple for you. Shout out number one. Hey, I'm not sure what was in the water last week in the Texas Panhandle, but it was pick six delight. Texas Panhandle teams returned at least 11 that I could look up. Interceptions for touchdown. Canyon had 3. Tascosa had those 2. And hey, check this out. That doesn't even count the 2 blocked punts and touchdowns scored by Pampa's Justin Martinez against Paladuro. He blocked 2 and scored on him. So what a week for the defense. Shout out number 2. Canadian remains ranked number 1 in Class 3, under Chris Ketting. The Wildcats host Dimmitt in this District 3-3A Division 2 this week. If Ketting and his Cats win, their district winning streak reaches number 40 in a row. 40.
Oh.
Crazy as that sound, that only ranks 11th in the current state of Texas district winning streak. Number 1, Aledo at 90.
Ooh.
Wow.
Well, I think that brings us right into my quick shout outs. Gotta always shout out Brandy, our producer, and Caitlin, our digital team, getting everything up there so you guys can watch the breakdown. Please tune in at 11:05. Excuse me, guys. Now I'm the one who can't talk. Tune in at 11:05 on Friday nights for the wrap up. We'll have all the highlights from games across the Panhandle, including the ones that we just talked about. So be sure to tune in. Thanks for watching.
You're clear.
All right.